The alarm bells screamed through every corridor of Kepler Station like angry metal birds. Red lights flashed in steady beats, painting the walls in blood-colored shadows. Dr. Hana pressed her back against the cold metal wall and tried to catch her breath. Her hands shook as she held the datapad that showed the nightmare outside. 400 ships. 400 massive alien warships surrounded their small research station like hungry wolves around a campfire. The Vrex Empire had found them. Hana ran down the hallway toward the command center. Her feet made loud sounds on the metal floor. Other people ran past her, some crying, some shouting orders. Children held tight to their parents' hands. Everyone knew what the Vrex did to humans they captured. The command center doors slid open with a soft hiss. Inside, Chief Engineer Do-yoon stood over a control panel, his face lit by green and red lights. Sweat dripped from his forehead as his fingers moved fast over the buttons. "How bad is it?" Hana asked. Do-yoon did not look up from his work. "Bad. Really bad. Their ships are huge. Each one could destroy our station 10 times over. Our shields will not last long if they start shooting." Station Chief Sora stood in the center of the room, looking at the big screen that showed space outside. The Vrex ships looked like giant sea creatures made of dark metal and bone. They moved in slow circles around the station, getting closer with each turn. "They sent us a message," Sora said. Her voice was calm, but Hana could hear fear hiding underneath. "They want us to surrender in 1 hour. If we do not, they will kill everyone." Hana felt her stomach drop. 50,000 people lived on Kepler Station. Scientists, engineers, teachers, doctors, and their families. All of them came here to study the planets around the star Kepler 442. They thought they were safe this far from Earth. "What about the defense fleet?" asked Dr. Minsu, the head of the biology department. His usual smile was gone. "The nearest Earth ships are 6 days away," Sora replied. "We sent the emergency signal, but it will take too long for help to arrive." On the screen, the Vrex flagship moved closer. It was a terrible thing to see. The ship looked alive, like it was grown instead of built. Its hull moved like breathing skin. Strange lights pulsed under its surface like a heartbeat. Weapon ports opened and closed like hungry mouths. Commander Tyke of the Vrex sent another message. His face appeared on the screen and everyone in the command center went quiet. The alien looked like a mix of insect and fish. His skin was gray and wet. 4 eyes stared out from his long head. When he spoke, his voice sounded like metal scraping against stone. "Humans of the research station," Tyke said. "You have entered space that belongs to the Vrex Empire. Your species is weak and does not deserve to travel among the stars. We give you one choice. Surrender now, and we will kill you quickly. Fight us, and we will make your deaths slow and painful." The message ended. The command center stayed quiet for a long moment. "We need to evacuate," Hana said. "Get everyone to the escape pods." "There are not enough pods for everyone," Do-hyun replied. "And the Vrex ships are too fast. They will catch the pods before they reach the jump point." Sora turned away from the screen. "Keep working on the shields. Maybe we can buy more time. Send another signal to Earth. Tell them what is happening here." Hana moved to her station and started helping with the evacuation plans. Her job was to make sure all the research data was saved. 20 years of work studying alien plants and animals could not be lost. But as she worked, she kept thinking about her daughter Yuna, who was in the school section with the other children. The station shook, not from weapons yet, but from the gravity fields of the huge Vrex ships. Books fell from shelves. Coffee cups slid across tables. The lights flickered. 30 minutes left, someone said. Dr. Sunwoo, who studied alien languages, was trying to talk to the Vrex. "Maybe we can negotiate," he said. "Offer them something they want." "The Vrex do not negotiate with humans," replied Dr. J, who had studied the alien empire for years. "They think we are animals. You cannot make a deal with something you want to kill." More alarms started ringing. The shield generators were getting hot from all the energy they were using. The Vrex ships were scanning the station with powerful beams. Every scan felt like fingers poking at their defenses, looking for weak spots. Hana finished saving the research data to the emergency storage drives. If anyone survived, at least the knowledge would remain. She started to leave the command center, to find her daughter when something changed on the main screen. "Wait," said the sensor operator. "I am getting a new contact. Long-range sensors show a ship approaching from the outer system." Everyone looked at the screen. Far away, beyond the gas giant that Kepler station orbited, a small dot of light was moving toward them. "Is it one of ours?" Sora asked. The operator worked with his controls. "Unknown. The ship is not in our database. Energy signature is strange. Very strange." The dot grew bigger as it came closer. Soon they could see it was a ship, but unlike any human ship they knew. It was sleek and dark, about the size of a heavy cruiser. No weapons were visible on its hull, no identification marks either. "It is sending a signal," the communications officer said. "Put it through," Sora ordered. The voice that came through the speakers was human, but something about it was different. Calm. Too calm for the situation. "This is Captain Minho of the UES Silent Thunder. You have 30 seconds to withdraw from human space." The command center went dead quiet. One ship. One small ship was telling 400 Vrex warships to leave. Commander Take's image appeared on the screen again. The alien was laughing, a sound like breaking glass. "A single human ship dares to threaten the Vrex Empire? Your species becomes more foolish with each day. We will destroy your ship first, then the station. Watch and learn what happens to those who challenge us." The Silent Thunder did not respond. It just kept moving toward the Vrex fleet, steady and sure like a knife cutting through water. "Are they crazy?" Minsu whispered. Hana stared at the screen. Something about the approaching ship made her feel strange. Hope and fear mixed together in her chest. The ship moved wrong somehow. Too smooth. Too perfect. Like it knew exactly where it was going and nothing could stop it. 10 minutes left, someone said. The wreck ship started to move into attack positions. Their bio-hulls pulsed faster, like excited heartbeats. Weapon ports opened wider. The space around the station filled with the heat of charging energy weapons. Do-hyun was still working on the shields, but sweat covered his face now. "I can give us maybe 2 minutes when they start shooting, no more." Sora looked around the command center at her people, scientists and engineers who came to study the stars, not fight wars. "Start the final evacuation. All non-essential personnel to the escape pods. If some of us can get away." "Ma'am," the sensor operator called out. "The unknown ship is powering up some kind of weapon." On the screen, the Silent Thunder looked the same as before, but the sensors showed energy building inside it. More energy than should fit in a ship that size. More energy than most space stations used. "What are they planning to do?" Jay asked. "Camera." Answer came quickly. A beam of light shot out from the Silent Thunder, not toward the Vrex fleet but toward the dead moon that orbited the gas giant nearby. The moon disappeared, not exploded, not broken apart. It simply stopped existing. One moment it was there, a ball of rock and ice. The next moment there was empty space where it used to be. "What?" Sora started to say, then stopped. The command center filled with shocked silence. The sensor operator checked his instruments 3 times. "The moon is gone, completely gone. No debris, no energy signature. It is just not there anymore." Dr. Sunwoo dropped his data pad. "That is impossible. You cannot just delete a moon." But they had all seen it happen. Commander Tyke's face appeared on the screen again. This time he was not laughing. His 4 eyes were wide with something that might have been fear. "What weapon was that? What technology do you possess?" Captain Minho's voice came through the speakers again, still calm, still too calm. "That was a warning. You now have 10 seconds to begin your withdrawal from this system. 9, 8, 7. The Vrex commander looked at something off-screen, probably talking to his officers. Hana could see him thinking, weighing the threat of one ship against his pride. 6, 5, 4. Some of the smaller Vrex ships started to pull back, but the flagship and most of the fleet stayed in position. 3, 2, 1. The countdown ended. The Silent Thunder turned toward the Vrex fleet and began to move faster. "Time is up," Captain Minho said. Hana grabbed the edge of her console as the station shook again, but this time it was not from the Vrex gravity fields. Something else was happening. The space around them was changing, bending, becoming something new. The war was about to begin. And somehow, Hana knew that everything they thought they understood, about humans, about technology, about what was possible, was about to change forever. The silent thunder accelerated toward 400 enemy ships, alone but not afraid. The last normal moment in the galaxy was ending. Commander Tyke stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Void Render, and felt anger burn in his chest like acid. His 4 eyes stared at the main display where the small human ship moved toward his fleet. One ship, one tiny ship dared to challenge the might of the Vrex Empire. The bridge around him pulsed with living light. The walls were not metal but grown bone and flesh, part of the ship's bio-neural system. Veins of glowing fluid ran through the ceiling, carrying nutrients and data to the ship's brain. The Void Render was alive, and like all Vrex bioships, it could think and feel pain. Analysis of the weapon that destroyed the moon, Tyke demanded. His science officer, Dr. G1, worked at a console that looked like a giant flower made of crystal and meat. Her 6 arms moved over the controls while data flowed directly into her brain through nerve cables plugged into her skull. "The readings make no sense, Commander," she said, her voice trembling. "The weapon did not destroy the moon. It removed it from reality itself. The quantum signature shows that the moon never existed, but we all saw it before the weapon fired." Tyke made a sound like grinding metal. "Impossible. Matter cannot be uncreated." "That is what our science says," G1. Agreed. "But the evidence shows something else. The humans have technology that operates outside known physics. Around the bridge, other Vrex officers worked at their living stations. The ship's bio-neural network carried their thoughts and fears to every part of the vessel. The Void Render itself was afraid, and that fear spread to the crew like a disease. Tyke forced his anger to stay strong. The Vrex Empire had conquered 17 species across 3 sectors of the galaxy. Their bioships were grown in the sacred pools of their homeworld, each one a perfect fusion of flesh and technology. No enemy had ever defeated a Vrex fleet in open battle. The humans must have found some alien artifact, he decided. Some ancient weapon they do not fully understand. When we capture their ship, we will take this technology for the Empire. On the display, the silent thunder continued its approach. It did not move like other ships. Most vessels had to change direction slowly, fighting against momentum and physics. But the human ship moved like it was swimming through space instead of flying through it. "Sir," called the tactical officer, "the human ship is not following normal flight patterns. Our targeting computers cannot predict its next position." Tyke studied the display. The officer was right. The silent thunder moved in curves that should be impossible. It seemed to know where the Vrex targeting systems were looking and always moved somewhere else. "It does not matter," Tyke said. "We have 400 ships, they have 1. Mathematics will defeat whatever trick they are using." The communication station crackled with incoming signals from the other ships in the fleet. Captain Necros of the Bone Crusher requested permission to attack. Captain Vex of the Soul Eater wanted to know if they should retreat. More and more voices joined the chatter, uncertainty spreading through the fleet like poison. "Silence," Take roared. His voice carried through the bio-neural network to every ship. "We are Vrex. We do not flee from humans. All ships, attack formation. We will show this fool what happens when someone challenges the Empire." The 400 ships began to move. Each bio-vessel was different, grown for specific purposes. Destroyers with bone hulls and acid weapons, cruisers with living armor that could repair itself, dreadnoughts the size of cities, their hulls pulsing with dark energy. Dr. Jiwan continued to study the sensor readings from the silent thunder. "Commander, I am detecting massive energy sources inside that ship, power levels that should require a stellar core to generate." "How large is their crew?" Tyke asked. "Scans show 12 life forms. Only 12 humans aboard." Tyke laughed, the sound echoing through the bridge. 12 humans think they can defeat the greatest fleet in Vrek's history. Their arrogance will be their death. But as he watched the silent thunder, something cold touched his mind. The ship moved with perfect confidence, like it knew something the Vreks did not, like it was not afraid. On Kepler Station, Dr. Hana watched the massive Vreks fleet move into attack formation. The bioships looked like a swarm of deadly sea creatures, their hulls glowing with weapon energy. The silent thunder looked tiny by comparison, a single fish swimming toward a school of sharks. "They are really going to fight," Chief Engineer Do-hyun said, his voice full of disbelief. 12 people against 400 ships. Station Chief Sora stood rigid at the command center. "Continue the evacuation. Get as many people to the escape pods as possible. Maybe the distraction will let some of us get away." Dr. Sunwoo was monitoring the communications between the Vreks ships. They are arguing among themselves. Some want to retreat, but their commander is forcing them to attack. "Good," said Dr. Minsu. "Maybe they will make mistakes." Hana looked at the tactical display. The mathematics were simple and terrible. Each Vrek ship had enough firepower to crack a planet. The silent thunder, whatever its mysterious weapon, was still just one ship. When the battle started, it would be over in seconds. Her daughter Yuna was safe in the escape pod bay with the other children. If Hana died here, at least Yuna might survive to see Earth again. The thought made her chest tight with pain. "Vrek's fleet opening fire," the sensor operator announced. On the main screen, the bioships lit up like deadly stars. Beams of plasma and dark energy shot toward the silent thunder from every direction. Enough firepower to destroy a small moon concentrated on one target. The beams hit empty space. The silent thunder was gone. "Where did it go?" Sora demanded. The sensor operator's hands flew over his controls. I do not know. It was there, then it was not. No jump signature, no warp trail, it just vanished. A new alarm started ringing. "Contact, the ship is behind the Vreks formation." On the screen, the silent thunder appeared behind the enemy fleet like a ghost, materializing from shadows. It had somehow moved from the front of the Vreks formation to the rear without traveling through the space between. The human ship fired. A beam of blue light reached out and touched one of the Vreks destroyers. The destroyer, a kilometer-long bioship with acid weapons and bone armor, simply stopped existing. Like the moon before it, the ship vanished from reality without explosion or debris. "How?" Do-hyun whispered. The Vreks fleet turned to face their attacker, but the silent thunder was already gone again. It appeared above the formation, then to the side, then below. Each time it fired, another Vreks ship disappeared, not destroyed, erased. Commander Tyke screamed orders through the bio-neural network. "All ships converge on the human vessel. Use the living trackers, find them." But the silent thunder seemed to know what the Vreks would do before they did it. When the bioships tried to surround it, the human vessel was already somewhere else. When they fired their tracking beams, they hit each other instead of their target. Dr. Jiwon worked frantically at her station, trying to understand what she was seeing. "Commander, the human ship is not moving through space normally. It appears to be folding space-time around itself. The vessel exists in multiple locations simultaneously." "That is impossible," Tyke roared. "So was removing the moon from existence," Jiwon replied. "But we saw that happen too." More Vreks ships vanished. The bio-vessels that remained were beginning to panic. Their living hulls pulsed with fear. Some tried to flee but found their navigation systems no longer worked properly. Every escape route led them back toward the silent thunder. The human ship appeared directly in front of the void render. For a moment, Tyke could see into the bridge through the transparent hull. A human male sat in the captain's chair, calm and relaxed like he was enjoying a quiet morning. Around him, other humans worked at stations that looked like they were made of crystallized light. Captain Minho looked directly at Commander Tyke through the screen and smiled. Not a happy smile, a sad one. "You should have listened," the human said. The silent thunder fired. But instead of the blue beam that erased other ships, this time the weapon was different. The void render did not disappear. Instead, It found itself, floating alone in empty space far from the battle. All around the flagship where 400 ships used to be, there was nothing but stars. "Report!" Tyke screamed. Dr. Jiwan checked her instruments with shaking hands. The entire fleet is gone. All ships except ours. We have been relocated somehow. Moved to a different part of the system. On the communications system, panicked voices called out. A few wrecked ships had survived, scattered across the system like leaves blown by a storm. But most of the fleet was simply gone. 400 bioships, each one grown over decades in the sacred pools, had vanished in less than 5 minutes. Commander Tyke fell into his command chair. His 4 eyes stared at the display showing empty space where his Armada used to be. The greatest Rex fleet ever assembled, defeated by a single human ship. "How?" he whispered. The answer came from the communications system, Captain Minho's voice still calm, still too calm. "Because you forgot something important, Commander. Humans do not surrender. We adapt, we overcome, and we never, ever give up." The silent thunder appeared on the screen one last time, floating peacefully near Kepler Station. "Take your remaining ships and go home," Captain Minho said. "Tell your empire what happened here. Tell them that humanity is not as weak as they thought, and tell them that if they come." Inside the silent thunder, Captain Minho sat in his command chair and watched the Rex fleet arrange itself for attack. The bridge around him was unlike anything built in normal human space. The walls curved in impossible angles, surfaces made of what looked like solid light. Control stations floated in mid-air, operated by crew members whose hands passed through holographic interfaces. "Kyung, give me a full tactical analysis," Minho said to his navigator. Navigator Kyung sat at a station that looked like a crystal tree. Her fingers moved through streams of light that showed the positions of all 400 Vrex ships. "Standard Vrex attack pattern, Captain. They are trying to surround us with overlapping fire zones. Their bioships are charging plasma weapons and dark energy cannons." Minho nodded. "Hyun, weapon status?" Weapons Officer Hyun worked at a console that seemed to exist in several dimensions at once. "All systems ready, sir. Quantum displacement cannons loaded. Reality editors standing by. Temporal shields active. Nari, how is our power core?" Chief Engineer Nari stood beside a pillar of swirling energy that rose from the floor to the ceiling. "0-point reactor is stable, Captain. We are drawing power directly from the quantum foam. Energy levels are unlimited." The other crew members worked quietly at their stations. Dr. Yoon monitored the space-time distortions around the ship. Communications Officer Bora tracked the fear spreading through the Virex bio-neural networks. Pilot June kept the ship moving through folded space, making it appear to be in several places at once. "They are opening fire," announced Sensor Specialist. Look on the main display. 400 Virex ships lit up like angry stars. Beams of plasma and dark energy converged on where the silent thunder appeared to be. The combined firepower could have cracked a planet in half. "Phase shift," Minho ordered calmly. The silent thunder slipped sideways through dimensions. The Vrex weapons passed harmlessly through the space where the ship had been. To outside observers, it looked like the human vessel had simply vanished. "Reappear behind their formation," Minho continued. "Target the destroyer on the left flank." The ship materialized behind the Vrex fleet like a ghost becoming solid. Hyon aimed the quantum displacement cannon at a kilometer-long bioship. The weapon fired, sending a beam of blue light that touched the destroyer's living hull. The destroyer ceased to exist, not destroyed by explosion or fire, but edited out of reality itself. The atoms that had formed the ship, the energy patterns that had given it life, the quantum information that had defined its existence, all of it returned to the void between possibilities. "One down," Hyun reported. 399 to go. The Vrex fleet turned to face their attacker, bioships pulsing with rage and fear, but the silent thunder was already gone again, phasing through space-time to appear above the formation. "They are trying to track us with bio-neural sensors," Bora announced. The living ships are extending psychic feelers to locate our position. Counter with empathic static, Minho ordered. Make their ships afraid to look for us. Dr. Yoon activated a device that sent waves of pure terror through the psychic network connecting the Vrex vessels. The bioships recoiled like wounded animals, their living hulls rippling with distress. Another shot from the quantum cannon. Another Vrex ship edited from existence. The battle became a dance of impossible movements. The silent thunder flowed through space like water, appearing and disappearing at will. Sometimes it existed in multiple locations simultaneously. Other times it moved backward through time, firing weapons before the Vrex could react. Target, the cruiser formation, Minho directed. Hyun switched to a different weapon. This time, instead of erasing the enemy ships, the reality editor changed their fundamental properties. 3 Vrex cruisers found their hull material transformed into flower petals. They drifted apart in clouds of pink and white, beautiful and harmless. Their commander is getting desperate, Communications Officer Bora reported. He is ordering all ships to fire randomly, hoping to hit us by chance. The space around Kepler Station filled with deadly energy as 400 ships fired in all directions. But the silent thunder danced between the beams like a leaf in a storm, untouched by the chaos. Kyung, plot an intercept course for their flagship, Minho said. Navigator Kyung's hands moved through the light streams. Course calculated. Captain, we will need to fold spacetime in a pretzel pattern to avoid their defensive fire. Do it. The silent thunder bent reality around itself and dove toward the massive Vrex flagship. The bioship Void Render was enormous, larger than most space stations. Its hull pulsed with dark energy, weapon ports opening like hungry mouths. They are trying to ram us, Pilot June announced. Phase through them, Minho replied. The silent thunder became translucent and passed directly through the Void Render's hull. For a moment, the two ships occupied the same space, the human crew looking directly into the alien bridge where Commander Tayek stood in shock. Hello, Minho said, broadcasting directly to the Vrex commander. Having a bad day? The silent thunder solidified on the other side of the flagship and fired at 3 destroyers simultaneously. The quantum cannon split its beam into multiple targeting streams, each one removing a different ship from existence. Sir, Hyun called out, some of the Vrex vessels are trying to retreat. Use the maze protocol, Minho ordered. Engineer Nari activated a device that folded local space into a complex pattern. The fleeing Vrex ships found that every escape route led them back to the battle zone. Space itself had become a trap, with the silent thunder as the spider at its center. More. Ships vanished. The quantum cannons fired in steady pulses, each shot perfectly aimed. Hyun worked with mechanical precision, targeting vessels in order of threat level. The reality editors changed enemy weapons into harmless objects. Plasma cannons became flower bouquets. Dark energy projectors turned into musical instruments. They are trying to coordinate a mass assault, Sensor Specialist Wook reported. All remaining ships are forming up for a final attack. On the display, the surviving Vrex vessels, now fewer than 100, arranged themselves in a tight formation. Their biohulls pulsed in unison as they prepared to fire everything they had at once. Let them, Minho said. It will make this easier. The Vrex fleet fired as one. The combined energy output was like a small star exploding. Space itself burned with the intensity of their assault. The silent thunder absorbed the energy and fed it back into its own systems. Thank you for the power boost, Minho broadcast to the shocked aliens. We will put it to good use. The human ship fired a single shot, but this one was different. Instead of targeting individual vessels, the quantum cannon created an expanding sphere of unreality. Every Vrex ship caught in the sphere simply stopped existing, edited from the timeline as if they had never been built. In 30 seconds, the remaining fleet vanished. Only the flagship Void Render remained, floating alone in empty space. Minho had moved it away from the battle zone, giving Commander Take a perfect view of his fleet's destruction. 4 minutes and 37 seconds, Engineer Nari announced. Is that a new record? Close, Pilot June replied. Remember the Zephyrian Armada, That only took 3 minutes. Dr. Yoon checked the space-time distortion readings. Local reality is stable. No temporal paradoxes detected. The timeline remains intact. Captain Minho stood up from his command chair and walked to the main display. The battle was over. 400 Vrex ships had been reduced to quantum dust and scattered memories. Only a few survivors remained, witness to what had happened. Bora, open a channel to all surviving Vrex vessels. Channel open, sir. Minho looked at the image of Commander Tech on the screen. The alien commander sat slumped in his chair, staring at the empty space where his armada used to be. Commander Tayek, Minho said, I want you to understand something. We did not win this battle because we hate you. We won because we had to, because you threatened innocent people and we could not allow that. The Vrex commander did not respond. His 4 eyes were wide with shock and disbelief. Your empire thinks humans are weak, Minho continued. You are wrong. We are not weak. We are patient. We are clever. And when we have to be, we are very, very dangerous. He paused, letting the words sink in. Take your remaining ships and go home. Tell your leaders what happened here. Tell them that humanity is not the easy prey they thought we were, and tell them that if they come for us again, next time we will not be so gentle. The communication ended. On the display, the few surviving Vrex ships began to move away from the battle zone, heading toward the edge of the system at maximum. Speed, should we follow them? Jan asked. No, Minho replied. Let them go. They have learned what they needed to learn. Navigator Kyung was already plotting a course back to Kepler Station. The research station is requesting permission to dock, Captain. They want to thank us. Minho considered this. Very well. But keep the temporal shields active. We do not want them to see too much of our technology. Not yet. The silent thunder turned toward the human research station, moving through normal space for the first time since the battle began. Behind them, the wreckage of 400 ships existed only as quantum echoes, memories of things that used to be. The 5-minute war was over, and the galaxy would never be the same. Dr. Hana stood in the docking bay of Kepler Station, watching the silent thunder settle into place with impossible grace. The ship moved like it was floating on water instead of maneuvering in space. No thrust trails, no gravity distortions, just smooth motion that defied everything she knew about physics. Around her, station personnel gathered to see the mysterious vessel that had saved them all. Chief Engineer Do-hyun held a scanner in his shaking hands, trying to get readings on the ship's hull composition. The device kept giving him error messages. The metal is not metal, he muttered. The scanner says it is made of crystallized probability. That does not make sense. Station Chief Sora stood beside the docking bay control panel, her face pale but determined. Prepare a full honor guard. These people saved 50,000 lives. They deserve our highest respect. The airlock cycled open with a soft hiss. Captain Minho stepped through first, followed by his crew of 11. They looked human, 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head each. But something about them was different. They moved too smoothly, like they weighed less than they should. Their eyes held depths that seemed older than their faces. Welcome to Kepler Station, Sora said, stepping forward. I am Station Chief Sora. On behalf of everyone here, thank you for saving us. Captain Minho smiled, and the expression was genuinely warm. You are welcome. We could not allow innocent people to suffer. Dr. Hana found herself studying the crew more closely. Navigator Kyung was a young woman who seemed to see things that were not there, her eyes tracking movements in empty air. Weapons Officer Hyun carried himself like a soldier, but his uniform was made of fabric that shifted colors like oil on water. Would you join us in the conference room? Sora asked. We have many questions. Of course, Minho replied. But first, allow me to introduce my crew. He gestured to each person in turn. Navigator Kyung, who plots courses through folded space-time. Weapons Officer Hyun, who edits reality to remove threats. Chief Engineer Nari, who maintains our zero-point reactor. Dr. Yoon, our temporal mechanics specialist. Each crew member nodded politely as their name was mentioned. They seemed friendly enough, but Hana noticed they all stood slightly apart from each other, like they were used to working in spaces larger than the docking bay. The group moved to Conference Room Alpha, the station's largest meeting space. As they walked through the corridors, Hana saw station personnel pressing against the walls to get a better look at their saviors. Children pointed and whispered. Adults stared in amazement. Dr. Sunwoo, the xenobiologist, was waiting in the conference room with his medical scanner. "Captain, would you mind if I took some basic biological readings for our records?" "Go ahead," Minho said, sitting down at the conference table. Sunwoo ran the scanner over the captain's head and chest. His eyebrows rose as he read the results. He scanned again, then checked his equipment, then scanned a third time. "This is impossible," he whispered. "What is wrong?" Sora asked. Sunwoo showed them the scanner display. "These readings..." Captain Minho's brain structure is unlike any human I have seen. Neural pathways optimized for quantum processing. Cellular modifications that allow direct interface with exotic matter. Genetic markers that should not exist. Minho looked amused. "What do you think that means, Doctor?" "I think..." Sunwoo paused, swallowing hard. "I think you are human, but not from our timeline. Your species has been modified somehow. Enhanced." Chief Engineer Do-hyun was studying readings from his own scanner, the one he had pointed at the Silent Thunder. "Captain, your ship's technology. I cannot understand any of it. The power readings alone should require a stellar core, but your vessel is only cruiser-sized. How do you do it?" Dr. Hana asked. She could not help herself. The scientist in her needed to know. How do you make a ship disappear and reappear? How do you fire weapons that erase things from existence? Captain Minho looked around the table at their eager faces. "The answer might frighten you." "We have seen frightening things today," Sora replied. "I think we can handle more truth." Minho nodded slowly. "Very well. Navigator Kyung, please show them the temporal chart." Kyung reached into what looked like empty air and pulled out a device that had not been there before. It projected a holographic display above the table, showing a complex web of branching lines. "This is a timeline map," Kyung explained. "Each line represents a different version of history, different choices, different outcomes, different ways the universe could develop." The display zoomed in on one particular cluster of lines. "These are the timelines where Earth exists, where humanity spreads to the stars. Most of them end badly." Hana studied the projection. Many of the timeline branches simply stopped, cut short by some disaster. "What happened to them?" "Different things," Kyung replied. "The Vrex Empire conquered Earth in timeline 7341. The Zephyrian swarm devoured the solar system in timeline 9005. Humanity destroyed itself in a civil war in timeline 12,847. Dr. Yoon, the temporal mechanics specialist, leaned forward. "But some timelines survived. In those realities, humans learned from their failures. They developed technologies to protect themselves. They became something more than what they started as." Captain Minho gestured to himself and his crew. "We are from timeline 15,892. In our reality, Earth fell to the Vrex Empire 200 years ago. The survivors fled to the edge of the galaxy and spent decades developing the tools needed to fight back." The conference room fell silent. Hana felt her understanding of the universe shifting, reshaping itself around this new information. "You are time travelers," Sora said. "Among other things," Minho agreed. "We are also the descendants of the people we just saved." He pointed to Dr. Hana. "In our timeline, Dr. Hana Kim was one of the researchers who escaped when Kepler Station was destroyed. Her daughter Yuna became a brilliant physicist who helped design our quantum displacement weapons." Hana felt dizzy. "My daughter, in your timeline." "She died fighting the Vrex at the Battle of Proxima Centauri," Engineer Nari said gently. "But her work lived on. The weapons that saved you today exist because of research she started." "Weapons," Officer Hyun added. "My great-grandfather was Chief Engineer Do-hyun. He taught our family everything we know about maintaining impossible technologies. Do-hyun stared at the young man. Impossible technologies? The zero-point reactor in our ship is based on designs he created after studying captured Vrex biotechnology, Hyun explained. In our timeline, he became the greatest engineer humanity ever produced. Dr. Sunwoo was studying his scanner readings again. The genetic modifications you mentioned, were they voluntary? Dr. Yoon answered, when you spend decades fighting for survival at the edge of the galaxy, you adapt or you die. Our ancestors chose to enhance themselves. Better neural processing for quantum calculations, improved reflexes for temporal combat, cellular modifications to interface with exotic matter. We are still human, Captain Minho said, but we are human plus something more. Human adapted for a universe that wants to kill us. Station Chief Sora leaned back in her chair. How many ships like yours exist? The Silent Thunder is one of 47 vessels in the Temporal Defense Initiative, Minho replied. Each one is crewed by humans from timelines where Earth was threatened or destroyed. Our mission is to protect human colonies across all possible realities. Navigator Kyung manipulated the holographic display, showing dozens of other timeline branches. We have saved human settlements from the Vrex Empire 73 times. We have stopped the Zephyrian swarm 41 times. We have prevented human civil wars 18 times. And sometimes, Engineer Nari added, we fail. Not every timeline can be saved, but we try to save as many as possible. Dr. Hana struggled to process what she was hearing. Why help us? If you are from a different timeline, why does our fate matter to you? Captain Minho's expression became serious. Because every human life has value. Because every timeline where humanity survives makes the universe a little brighter. And because, he paused, choosing his words carefully, because you are our ancestors. In a very real sense, we exist because you existed first. Chief Engineer Do-hyun was still staring at Weapons Officer Hyun. You said I was your great-grandfather. What was I like? Hyun smiled. Stubborn, brilliant, completely impossible to argue with when you thought you were right. Which was most of the time. That sounds about right, Dr. Sunwoo muttered, and several people laughed despite the serious situation. The mood in the room shifted slightly, becoming warmer. These strange visitors might be time travelers with impossible technology, but they were also family in a way that transcended normal understanding. What happens now? Sora asked. Now we give you a gift, Captain Minho said. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small crystal device. This contains theoretical frameworks that will advance your science by centuries. Fusion power, faster than light travel, quantum computing, all the tools you will need to survive what is coming. He placed the device on the table. But remember, technology alone is not enough. Your real strength is your refusal to give up, your ability to adapt and overcome. That is what makes humanity special across all timelines. Engineer Nari stood up. We need to leave soon. Other timelines need our help, and the Vrex Empire will be looking for us. Will we see you again? Dr. Hana asked. Captain Minho considered the question. Perhaps, the news spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. In the crystal spires of the Altarian Collective, insectoid beings that had lived for 1,000 years suddenly felt young and uncertain. Their vast libraries contained detailed records of every species in known space, but nothing had prepared them for what they learned about humans. On the water world of Nereus Prime, the aquatic depths speakers gathered in their deepest trenches to discuss the impossible reports. A single human vessel had destroyed an entire Vrex Armada in 5 minutes. The mathematics alone defied understanding. Even the ancient keepers of the void, beings of pure energy who remembered the birth of stars, called emergency councils to discuss what this meant for the galaxy. But nowhere was the shock greater than in the Vrex Empire itself. Dr. Jiwon floated in the bio-neural interface chamber aboard her research vessel. Her consciousness merged with the ship's living computer systems. Around her, streams of data flowed like glowing rivers, carrying reports from across Vrex space. The Empire was in chaos. 3 days had passed since Commander Tyke returned to the homeworld with news of the fleet's destruction. The Supreme Council of the Vrex had listened to his report in stunned silence. 400 bioships, each one grown in the sacred pools over decades, simply erased from existence by weapons that operated outside known physics. Analysis complete, the ship's bio-neural network whispered into Jiwan's mind. The human weapon signatures match no known technology in our databases. The closest comparison is to the ancients' reality-shaping tools, but those artifacts were destroyed millennia ago. Jiwan absorbed the data flowing through her consciousness. The Vrex Empire had spent centuries cataloging the weapons and defenses of every species they encountered. They knew the plasma cannon capacity of Altarian cruisers. They had detailed schematics of Nereus shields. They could predict the exact combat performance of any known vessel. But the Silent Thunder had operated using principles that Vrex science could not even recognize, let alone counter. "Show me the tactical analysis of the battle," Jiwan commanded. The bio-neural network projected the data directly into her brain. She experienced the battle from the perspective of the Void Render's sensors, watching the human ship phase through space-time, like it was swimming through water instead of vacuum. The vessel had existed in multiple locations simultaneously. It had fired weapons that removed targets from reality itself. It had folded space into impossible shapes, trapping fleeing Vrex ships in loops that led nowhere. "This technology should not exist," Jiwan whispered. "Perhaps," the bio-neural network replied. "We have underestimated what humans are capable of becoming." Far across the galaxy, on the crystal world of Altair 7, High Counselor Zeth stood before the collective's governing assembly. The insectoid being's forearms gestured at the holographic display showing tactical data from the Kepler station incident. "Fellow counselors," Zeth said, his voice clicking through the translation devices, "we must reconsider our position regarding humanity." The assembly hall buzzed with discussion. The Altarian collective had maintained a policy of careful neutrality toward human expansion, viewing the mammalian species as energetic, but ultimately limited by their brief lifespans and primitive technology. That assessment was now in question. "The humans have demonstrated capabilities that exceed our own," Zeth continued. "A single vessel destroyed the largest Vrex fleet in recorded history. Their technology appears to manipulate space-time itself. Counselor Vex, an ancient being whose exoskeleton was scarred by centuries of experience, raised one clawed hand. Perhaps they discovered an ancient artifact, some weapon left behind by the first builders. "Our analysis suggests otherwise," Zeth replied. "The weapon signatures are distinctly human in origin. Whatever they used, they built it themselves." The assembly fell silent. The implications were staggering. If humans could develop such technology independently, what else might they be capable of? "I propose immediate diplomatic contact," Zeth said. "We should offer alliance terms before they decide we are a threat." On the waterworld of Nereus Prime, similar discussions were taking place in the deep ocean trenches where the depths speakers made their homes. The aquatic beings communicated through bioelectric fields that could convey complex emotions along with basic information. Elder Kala pulsed her thoughts to the gathered council, her electric field tinted with concern and curiosity. "The surface dwellers have shown unexpected depths. Perhaps we misjudged their potential." "The Vrex thought humans were weak prey," replied Elder Nemo, his bioelectric aura crackling with amusement. "Now the Vrex flee from shadows, afraid their own bioships will be edited from existence." "Should we make contact?" asked a younger speaker named Coral. "Offer them knowledge of the deep currents of space?" Elder Kala considered this. The depth speakers possessed ancient knowledge about the flow of cosmic forces, information that could be valuable to any species attempting to manipulate space-time. "Yes," she decided, "but carefully. Any species that can unmake reality itself must be approached with great respect." Meanwhile at Kepler Station, Dr. Hana worked late into the night studying the crystal device Captain Minho had left behind. The theoretical frameworks contained within were almost beyond comprehension. But gradually she began to understand fragments of the technology. The humans from the future had not just developed better weapons or faster ships. They had fundamentally changed their understanding of what was possible. Where normal science saw fixed laws of physics, they saw guidelines that could be bent or rewritten under the right conditions. Fascinating, muttered Dr. Sunwoo, who was helping with the analysis. They treat space-time like a programmable medium. Reality itself becomes a tool. Chief Engineer Do-Hyun looked up from his own workstation. I am beginning to understand how they generate so much power. They are not just using fusion or antimatter. They are tapping directly into the quantum foam that underlies all existence. Station Chief Sora joined them in the laboratory. Any progress on the communications technology? Some, Hana replied. The device contains blueprints for faster-than-light communication systems that work by quantum entanglement. We could send messages instantaneously across the galaxy. That will change everything, Sora said quietly. She was right. Instantaneous communication would revolutionize trade, diplomacy, and coordination between human colonies. But more than that, it would announce to the galaxy that humanity was ready to take its place among the advanced civilizations. Dr. Minsu, the head of biology, had been studying the medical data from Captain Minho's crew. Sora, you need to see this. The genetic modifications they mentioned? I think I understand how they work. He showed them a holographic display of human DNA, but with additional structures that glowed with soft light. They have integrated quantum processing capabilities directly into their nervous systems. Their brains can literally think in multiple dimensions. Is that safe? Sunwoo asked. For them, yes. They have been modified to handle the stress. But for us, Minsu shook his head. We would need generations of careful genetic therapy to safely achieve the same results. Hana thought about her daughter Yuna, currently sleeping in the residential section with the other children. In Captain Minho's timeline, Yuna had become a quantum physicist who helped design reality-shaping weapons. Here, she was just a normal, 8-year-old girl who liked drawing pictures of spaceships. But perhaps that would change. Perhaps all of humanity would change given time and necessity. 3 weeks later, the first diplomatic missions arrived at Kepler Station. The Altarian delegation came in crystal ships that sang as they moved through space. High Counselor Zeth brought offers of technological exchange and mutual defense treaties. The depth speakers sent a biomechanical vessel that looked like a giant sea creature swimming through the void. Elder Kayla offered to share ancient knowledge about cosmic forces in exchange for human insights into reality manipulation. Even species that had never shown interest in human affairs suddenly wanted to establish embassies and trade agreements. Station. Chief Sora found herself hosting the galaxy's first interspecies diplomatic conference in over 3 centuries. Representatives from dozens of civilizations gathered in the station's main conference hall, all of them eager to understand what humanity had become. The galaxy has changed, Zeth told her during a private meeting. For millennia, the Vrex Empire was the dominant military force. Their defeat has created a power vacuum. Every species is wondering who will fill it. We do not want to rule the galaxy, Sora replied honestly. Perhaps, Zeth said, but the galaxy may need you to. The Vrex will not remain defeated forever. They will adapt, develop new bioweapons, create larger fleets. When they return, someone must be ready to stop them. That evening, Sora stood in her office looking out at the diplomatic vessels surrounding Kepler Station. Ships from a dozen different species, all of them here because of what the Silent Thunder had accomplished in 5 minutes. Dr. Hana joined, her at the observation window. Strange how quickly everything changed. Is it strange? Sora asked. Or is this what was always going to happen? Maybe humanity was always destined to become something more. Maybe we just needed the right circumstances to push us toward that destiny. Out in space, a new ship approached the station.